Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums, and today I have a deck review of the Moonology Messages Oracle by Yasmin Boland. This is a deck that I've had, I think, for a little bit, maybe a couple of years now. I don't know. But it's been over a year at least. I had the Moonology Oracle, I believe is what it's called, previously. It wasn't one that I reached for a lot or that I used quite a bit in my practice. So I ended up kind of gifting that to somebody else that I thought would utilize it a lot more and enjoy it a lot more than I had. So I was kind of like, do I want this? And I ended up really just loving the artwork. So I was like, yeah, I think this will be good. It is a collage style deck. If you are like wanting more of a deck unboxing, I do believe I have one in my deck unboxings playlist that you can check out. This is going to be a review, so the cards are not in order. I'm just going to kind of talk about my experience and why I have decided to keep this deck in my practice. Now, I do have a lot of decks. I've had a lot of decks over the years. I think currently I have a lot. I know it's over 100. Currently in my collection, it's probably closer to 200 at this point. I really like art. And so I do need to do a deck destash at some point, possibly this summer while I'm home, and can kind of go through and be very intentional about what I'm keeping and what I have. But this is a deck that I do think I will be keeping, not just for the artwork, but also I do like how it reads for me. So this is a 48 card deck. It is from Hay House, and it's just beautiful, right? And there's just on the inside, call on the goddess Saraswati to guide your intuition. And in Vedic astrology, I think she's one of the goddesses that is connected to my Vedic chart. So I thought that was interesting. Let's talk about this deck. Now, I did edge mine, which you can see in my Show Me How You Practice Edging a Deck video, and I think it makes it look a little bit more complete. I went with this kind of buttery yellow color that I thought was a really nice complement. The reason I have enjoyed this deck so much, it is not just how it looks. It has beautiful artwork. It's stunning. It's visually very satisfying to me. It is a collage art style kind of deck, which I know isn't everyone's cup of tea. I know that they've grown in popularity in the last few years. I really love them. I didn't think I would, but I do now. And I really like that there is a simplicity to the messages. While it does talk about the different, moon phases and things of that nature, you can use this as just a straight up oracle, because it just has a keyword with the actual moon phase. And I think that the artwork being what it is, where it's not super cluttered, there isn't a ton of stuff going on. I think it allows for you to kind of make your own interpretations. I think, it just is something that for me, I tend to reach for quite often, and I do tend to use it quite a bit, not just for my readings, but also for readings for clients and things like that. I think most of these are going to be upside down. Watch, it's going to be the other way. So we just have just beautiful, I don't know, to me, it's very evocative. And again, I do have a lot of Cancer in my chart, so maybe this is why I tend to kind of gravitate towards a lot of moons and moon messages and kind of empath, whatever, things like that, more feminine kind of decks. So I think it's stunning. I have really, really enjoyed using it in my practice. I think it is a deck that almost anyone can kind of pick up and use, even if you're not familiar with the moon phases or things of that nature. I think that it can be one that is really beautiful. And I think it pairs very well with other collage style decks that Hay House has kind of focused on, like the Inner Child Oracle by Amanda Lynn Saline. I think it allows this just, I don't know. I really have truly enjoyed this deck. And again, it's not going to be in order. This is a deck that I'm actively using all of the time. If you want the cards in order or the right way. Look at the deck unboxing. But as far as like moon decks, this is one that I have definitely decided to keep in my collection. The other kind of moon deck that I have is Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, which I do love a lot of her work, especially when she was making stuff with Jimmy Manton. I love his art style. But that's also a collage style deck. It's absolutely stunning, beautiful. It is different than this. It's still collage style art, but it is a different vibe. Like, I feel like this is more, there's a starkness to this one, I guess, that just, I don't know. It's like toned down, kind of simple. I feel like it's a little bit more current kind of art style, if that makes sense. And I don't know how else to explain it other than it just feels like it is a beautiful deck to kind of utilize, especially if you're like me and you really like to connect to like the different moon phases and, you know, moon energy. Now, the guidebook is also fantastic. It has quite a bit of information for the cards with the interpretations of the cards. It also has like, you know, different suggestions on how to connect a little bit deeper to your intuition. And I do love the inclusion of like, you know, kind of having these like quick kind of additional meanings versus like having to read through everything. If you do a little bit better with just like, you know, something like this where it's very quick, that might be good. I know maybe it wasn't this deck, sorry. I was going to say, I think that there was a journaling section. I don't think it's this deck. That's my bad. But I think that this is good. For a mass market deck, I think it is a really lovely moon deck. And I have bought all kinds of decks from, you know, indie sellers, mass market, you know, from Kickstarter and all of the other indie print kind of vibes. And I have kept this one probably the longest besides the Queen of the Moon Oracle, which again, that's another mass market deck. And they've been like my favorite kind of moon sort of based oracle decks. So I hope that this is a deck review that you enjoy. Let me know what you guys think. Is there a moon deck in your collection that you really love? And let me know what you guys would like to see. I want to say thank you for joining me and being here with me. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.